Starting in 2005, BBC Wales relaunched Doctor Who. This is the current version of Doctor Who that is on the market, and that is what we see now in the US on BBC America. The Ninth Doctor, Christopher Eccleston, only signed on for one season, so they knew going into it that at the end he would be regenerated, and so he was just able to get the buzz out there, get the excitement for the new program, and it worked. High production values, more money put into it. It has been a rating success for the past 7 years. But they kept all of the basics. So with the Doctor, we have him traveling in his spaceship, and he always has at least a companion with him. The first companion he takes is Rose Tyler. And then for 2 episodes, Adam Mitchell, which we will not be watching the episodes that he was in, but he was one of the companions. Then for a couple of episodes, Captain Jack Harkness, who will come back for the 10th Doctor. He also then gets his own spin-off show called Torchwood, which is along the same lines as Doctor Who, aliens, different aspects, but it's geared to the adult crowd. So it was meant to be the sexier version of Doctor Who. And then we move into the 10th Doctor. So out of the newest Doctors, he's the most popular of all time. He's usually considered in first or second place with the 4th Doctor as far as the most popular. And again, we're going to see recycling of the same companions. Rose Tyler. Then we see some of her Earth family coming along. Mickey Smith was her boyfriend, Rose Tyler's boyfriend. And then they go away. We get a new companion, Martha Jones, who we'll be seeing in several episodes. Captain Jack comes back. We then see toward the end of 10's run is Dr. Donna Noble. And then each year, since it started again in 2005, there's been something called the Christmas Specials, and it has nothing to do, it's a standalone episode. It doesn't really fit into an episode arc or anything that's happening within the normal season of Doctor Who, and so these are a couple of the companions who would be just with him just for that one particular episode. And then we do see Sarah Jane coming back, and this is when she's given her spin-off, the Sarah Jane Adventures, which was geared toward the under 10 crowd. So we see Doctor Who was so popular and has been so popular that it created 2 spin-offs, one for the more adult crowd, Torchwood, one for the younger crowd, Sarah Jane Adventures. And then we move into the 11th Doctor, who is the current Doctor. He is the youngest Doctor so far, and it follows the exact same patterns of having a companion that he meets up with. We'll meet Amy Pond, her boyfriend, then husband Rory Williams. We will meet Dr. River Song, first with the 10th Doctor, and then see her with the 11th. We will not see the standalone episode with Craig Owens, unfortunately. And then the current companion is Clara Oswald, and we're going to look and see why she has become the overarching question of this particular season. I'm going to walk you through in the next couple presentations an introduction to Doctor Who. Basically, it is a science fiction series created in 1963 that is quintessentially British. It was created as a children's show to educate but also entertain, and we will see that it has maintained its idea of being a show geared toward the younger crowd and the problems that causes today when it draws a much older crowd into it. This year is its 50th anniversary. This particular season is leading up to the big anniversary show in November. The basic premise, it's about a Time Lord called the Doctor. And he travels around in his starship called the TARDIS, which is disguised as a box. And so we're going to be looking at each aspect of this. But the Doctor is basically an alien from the planet Gallifrey. Not everyone from Gallifrey is a Time Lord, but all Time Lords did come from Gallifrey. So there were certain people who were selected and trained and tested and eventually would become a Time Lord, and that means that they could travel in time and space. Eventually there were conflicts and there was a war called the Time War between the Time Lords and an alien enemy, the Daleks. Both were really going to destroy each other and the entire universe in this war, and so our particular Doctor decided to end the war by destroying both the Time Lords and the Daleks. When he is close to death, he is able to regenerate into a new form. He's able to heal himself, and when he's done regenerating, he is actually basically in a new body. This was a convenient trick for the producers, that whenever a particular Doctor wanted to leave the program, then they could recast, have the Doctor go through regeneration, new actor. His personality changes, his appearance changes, but he's still the same Doctor, and we will discuss this aspect of identity this term. When we talk about the Doctor, we refer to them numerically. There have been 11 Doctors so far, and so they're referred to as the first Doctor, the second Doctor, etc. They often can be referred to as 9 or 11. And so if we talk about 11, then we're talking about the 11th Doctor, although they never refer to themselves numerically. They always refer to themselves as Doctor. The Doctor always travels with a companion, someone who is a substitute for the audience. The companion will ask questions and be confused and need the Doctor to explain things, and when the Doctor explains them, not only to the companion, he's explaining them to us, the audience. His first companion was his granddaughter Susan, and her teachers, Ian and Barbara. And then throughout the run, there were some different companions who came in. Some would stay for a while, some would be there for one episode, and again, they would just come back and forth. And for the most part, they were human or human-like. We then had the first change after 3 years to the second Doctor. Again, you can see a new appearance, a quirkier Doctor. But when we start to see some of his companions, you see the same faces again. So especially in the early years, they recycled companions. And so this also was a cost saving. Then with the third Doctor, we move into the 1970s. So you can see by his outfit that he's very much dated to the 70s. And the show has always been a very trendy show. And so you can, as you go through the years, pretty much pick up what decade a particular Doctor represents by how he is dressed. The special effects on the show, it's always tried to be cutting edge, but the problem with being cutting edge is that when new technology comes along, your previous cutting edge technology looks really dated. And so that is also a problem that we will run into as we're watching some of the episodes. So again, several companions. Sarah Jane Smith, one of the most popular. We will see her come back with the fourth Doctor and with the 10th Doctor. Fourth Doctor, by far, as far as the classic Doctors, the most popular. And this is because this was the first Doctor that was exported to the US. For the most part, in the mid-70s, PBS started showing Doctor Who, and so for many Americans, this was their first view of Doctor Who. He is very well recognized for the long neck scarf, and it's overly long, goes down to his feet. Sarah Jane Smith comes back as a companion. We have a few other companions. See the first mechanical robot. We also have a Time Lady. Romana comes in. Somehow she escaped destruction in the Time War, and she comes back as well. Again, we're going to see some repetition of these last three companions when we move to the fifth Doctor, who also is a very quirky Doctor. You can see he has a stalk of celery in his lapel. a much younger Doctor than the others had been, and so he brought a different character and a different way of playing the Doctor, and he was a very popular one as well. We see some of the same companions come along as well. Adric for a bit, Nyssa and Tegan. A few others join in from time to time. And then we moved to the Sixth Doctor, who was, for the most part, one of the most universally disliked Doctors. He only made it 2 years. Again, reusing of some of the companions. And then we had the Seventh Doctor. And finally, in what is considered the classic era, the Eighth Doctor. I'm sorry, there's a typo there. It's supposed to be the Eighth Doctor, not the Eighth Doctor. Paul McGann played the Doctor in a 1996 made-for-television show that was actually a pilot that was asked for by Fox in the U.S. And so it was played on U.S. television as well as BBC. Didn't really score big in the ratings, and so the pilot never went anywhere. And so this was the end of the era of the Doctor as far as the classic Doctor. And from 1996 to 2005, nothing happened with the program, and then we see it being relaunched in 2005 with the Ninth Doctor.